Oh. Oh. Oh, it feels great today. It actually felt great yesterday too. Especially when the weather yesterday when I got up here is pretty much right now. Only the sun is in a completely different position. Give you a second or two to enjoy the view and the sounds of nature. Okay. It's just like I predicted. If you recall in yesterday's video, I predicted that when I got up here, after, everything I did yesterday, after I got up here, and, I get to today's video, the sky would be exactly like it is now. Blue sky with some clouds. It's pretty much just like I predicted. Actually, it's better than I predicted. I was expecting, there's more clouds like way in the distance over there. But like right above me, it is like clear blue sky. And yeah, actually directly above me, there's no clouds at all. So, do I know how to call it or what? So, let's get to my low, my high, and my act of kindness. Actually, I forgot to dry my hair. Excuse me. Okay, I'm good. So let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Because actually I do have a bit of a low. So, I'm sure at this point, anyone watching this is already keenly aware of how crazy the weather was yesterday. And it was. In fact, I'm not gonna lie. Like, 3 times throughout the course of the day, we got like that emergency broadcast thing on our phones and stuff, like warning about like flash floods and everything. Which, that had me worried. But like, the weather even said things were gonna stop, being bad around like 3. And that's exactly what wound up happening. Even though, literally on my way to dinner last night, I got another one of those, like, emergency broadcast things or whatever. Okay. Again, this is very delicate work. I gotta make sure, like, I don't fall backwards and, again, I make for funny content, but, I don't want to... Okay. Here we go. So, yeah, I got another one of those emergency broadcast things, like, on my phone. So, as soon as when I got up here, it was nice. You never would be able to tell. Hold on. I don't think I'm quite center yet. Actually, no, I'm not center. That's a bit better. So, as soon as if you got up here when I did, you almost never would have known we had, like, really bad, weather. Yeah, there's a lot of debris and sticks and stuff in the water, and the water really is extremely murky. In fact, hold on a second. Like, look at that. Like, I know you guys have seen the fact there's, like, seaweed, and there is seaweed underneath me, but you can't see it. That's how murky the water is after yesterday. It's insane. But in spite of all that, I actually, like, the weather yesterday really wasn't my low. However, my low was caused by the weather yesterday. See, yesterday I really wanted to go to Lakeside for dinner. And they were closed. Turns out, not only did they have power, but their basement flooded. They're going to be open later today, but I don't know if I'll be able to go today. Although, my high is I actually got to meet the manager of Lakeside finally. See, for those of you who don't know, my grandfather on my mother's side, who passed in January of 2020, Lakeside was one of his haunts. Like, Lakeside and the Valley Inn. Like, those are, like, his two go-to places when he lived up here for the rest of his life. And obviously, he knew the manager at Lakeside really well, so I finally got to meet him. He's a really sweet guy. I hope I get to see him again before the summer's over, because he really was a nice guy. You know, we talked a little bit and talked about my grandfather, and, like, there are some things about my grandfather that, like, I was told but I'd forgotten. Like, this is a funny story. Actually, let me get through my act of kindness, before I tell the story. My act of kindness was, as soon as I got up here, I did all I could in terms of cleaning everything up. Cleaned up the, vacuumed throughout the cottage, and I, blew off the front and back patios. And trust me, after the weather we had yesterday, it was pretty bad. So, okay, now to tell, and we told some stories about, my grandfather. And one story that we did talk about was, my grandfather notoriously did not like the ice that they had at Lakeside. I mean, listen, my grandfather, I love him, but he had his fair share of quirks. And one of those quirks was, like, because he didn't like the ice over at Lakeside, he straight up brought his own. And that's funny. So, yeah, it was actually really nice I got to meet the manager. In fact, meeting that guy was definitely my high for yesterday. And, I remember, I'm not going to say his name on camera as per my policy, so as not to embarrass or offend anyone. So, I can't say his name here, but he's a really nice guy. And, honestly, I can't, unfortunately, since I'm going to help my folks watch my nephews tonight, going to Lakeside, probably one of the least likely things to happen, but I can always knock on wood, right? So, I guess as long as I'm thinking about this, I think it's about time I talk about Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish. Now, I did what was essentially an initial thoughts video back when, like, the first 5 episodes premiered. And therefore, because there's one site I swear to when watching cartoons online. It's actually called watchcartoonsonline.com. But, like, there's one episode they have yet to upload yet, so unfortunately, I couldn't really, like, watch the season in its entirety. But I did pay attention to, like, all of the major, like, high points. Specifically, the return of characters from the old show. Like, one of Timmy Turner's best friends, AJ, is now a professor at the university. Mr. Crocker's back, who works as a janitor at the university, but he still believes in fairies! That's funny. And of course, I paid attention to the episode where Vicky came back. Icky Vicky herself. Voiced once again by the legendary Grey Delisle, who, again, that woman needs no introduction in terms of voiceover work. And I was there and I did pay attention to all the really big moments that no one was expecting, like the return of Poof. Yeah, I remember when in the old show, when Poof was added as a character, a lot of people didn't like that. I didn't really hate it. Although, to this day, I have to give the Fairly Odd Parents, props for taking a really big risk in terms of how Poof came into existence. Because, apparently that when fairy babies are being born, it's the male that gives birth. Yeah, I know that some people are kind of triggered by that, I'm not, but I definitely see why that is. And, you know, again, I respect. We don't judge here. Anyway, so it turns out Poof is an adult and he goes by Perry now, as in Periwinkle, who is Dev Dividome's god kid. And all of it came about because Hazel wished to get to know Dev more, and ultimately Dev became miserable, and then, you know, he gets a god kid now. And Perry, Cosmo, and Wanda uniting, you know, that was really cool. That really was cool. And because Perry's there, there's also, Foop. Yeah, when Poof was born, obviously there's anti-fairies, and so he called himself Foop. Only this time he goes by IREP. Again, there's just really good jokes in this show, and I mean, I gotta talk about the finale. So, after Dev dismisses Perry as his godparent and then starts going with IREP, he tries to take over Fairy World, and, like, basically, all chaos breaks loose. He reveals magic to the world. Like, that's how crazy it is. And, I think the coolest thing about the finale is Hazel gets two best friends and her brother, and he tells them that, you know, she tells them that she has fairy godparents, and they're like, we know. Like, her friend Jasmine's like, Hazel, you made me face a manifestation of my worst fears. You gotta understand, there's gotta be, like, context. I mean, we're shocked, but, you know, again, there's context. So they kind of piece it together. Actually, that does remind me. At the beginning of this episode, somehow in the span of a year, Hazel made 1 million wishes. I mean, I'm sure that cartoon logic plays a big factor in all that, but to do 1 million wishes in the span of a year, you're doing, like, well over, like, the number of wishes you'd have to do in a single day would have to be in the tens of thousands. That's how crazy it is. Actually, yeah, it'd be like, you gotta do like 30,000 wishes a day or something like that. That's insanity. But somehow, you know, Hazel makes 1 million wishes in the span of a year, and when you make 1 million wishes, you get a rule-free wish, which, that was never established in the old show. In fact, in the old show, in the special Abracatastrophe, when Timmy made sure that he kept his godparents for a year, then he got a magic muffin, which you bite into, then you get a rule-free wish. So I guess it's kind of a play on that. And that rule-free wish does come in handy later. So, eventually, throughout the episode, and throughout the season, the one thing Dev Dividome really wanted above all else was getting approval from his father. And even when he's able to take over Fairy World, you know, IREP is the one stealing attention away from Dev, you know, from getting Dev's father, Dale. So, yeah, it's Doug Dimmadome, Dale Dimmadome, and Dev Dimmadome. Doug Dimmadome was the owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. That joke, saying that never gets old. So, eventually Dev has a change of heart. He frees Cosmo, Wanda, and Perry. They're able to fix everything before Perry and everyone else dies of magic backup. Oh, the fairies anyway. And Jorgen is able to erase the memories of everyone on Earth, including Dev, which Hazel's like, you had to have known if you were going to take over Fairy World, if you lost, we'd have to wipe your memories, right? So, yeah, that happens. But right before Jorgen is about to erase the memories of Hazel's friends and her brother, Hazel's like, hold on, I still have one rule-free wish. Actually, I've done 1,000,001 wishes at this point right now. So, my rule-free wish is I want my friends and my brother to keep their memories and be aware of the existence of fairies forever. Which George's like, what? Like, that was actually a really funny scene. And then Wanda's like, that is a real free wish. So they get it. And the episode has, honestly, a really funny ending, in my opinion, because the episode ends with Cosmo, Wanda, Perry, Hazel, her brother Anthony, and Hazel's 2 friends. And they're all on penny farthing dirt bikes, which, if you watch the show, you know the lyric says, fish guy, pizza fry, fish guy, pizza fry, penny farthing dirt bike rides. So all 7 of them are on penny farthing dirt bikes. And Wanda says, let's go, fairy, let's go, God Kid and God Kid's friends. And then Wanda's like, what do you call this sort of thing? And then Hazel's like, family. I'm sure there's a lot of old school fans of Fairly Odd Parents who also happen to be fans of the Fast and Furious movies. That had to have been a reference to the Fast and Furious movies, because it's all about family. Honestly, I've never watched the Fast and Furious movies. I just know family is like the big thing in those movies. And as the dirt bikes are going out of frame and the episode's about to close, you know, obviously it's a dirt bike. They back up, but one of them sounded like it was a fart. And then right as the screen turns to black, Perry shows up and he's like, wait, you're ending all this on a fart joke? There better be a season 2. Sort of a tease for season 2. Which, you know what? I actually just realized. Not only was this episode a play on Abracatastrophe, this is also based on Danny Phantom, another one of Butch Hartman's works. Because if you don't know, by the end of the series, everyone knew that Danny Phantom was Danny Phantom. But throughout the series, it was Danny's 2 best friends and his sister. They kind of did play on that too. Neat. So, I mean, listen, at this point, I do believe Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish is going to be streaming on Paramount, which I don't have, but, you know, again, I'm sure there's going to be ways to see it online that's not necessarily legal. I actually do recommend this show. I did have a lot of fun watching, and it was great seeing, I mean, listen, I said this when I did my initial thoughts, and I'll say it again now. Duran Norris and Susan Blakeslee, you know, being Cosmo and Wanda respectively, like, those 2 are the heart of that show. Absolutely. Like, I put Cosmo and Wanda right up there with Kitty and Red Foreman as, like, among the great television married couples. Just because, like, I mean, they're fun. I mean, not only are they both couples funny in their own ways, but there's also heart behind what they do. There's effort behind what they do in terms of the actors' performances. And you can, I mean, just like when Kitty and Red Foreman went back to doing that when Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp went back to doing Kitty and Red Foreman and that 90s show, Duran Norris and Susan Blakeslee, like, they are Cosmo and Wanda. And as long as those 2 are doing their thing, Fairly Odd Parents is always going to have an audience. That's just my personal take, though. And speaking of things that are personal, I get to show The View again. Seriously, you'd never tell there was a storm last night. Or yesterday. I hope y'all like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, find me on social media. As always, I am very humble in this video. For all of you guys who are watching, enjoy for name. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Oh, I forgot to do happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday, everyone. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, we're here to let you know we're back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.